All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the SC Reddit tournament number 6, semifinals between HybridFrog and Yulath, game 3. HybridFrog is up 2-0. I am Harlequin, and with me tonight is Atomica, and just going to see how this works out. They are back-to-back, and normally most people would agree that this is one of the best matchups, or one of the best maps at least for a Zerg player who likes to macro and expand a lot, because you can just keep expanding away and away from your opponent. But we'll have to see if he's going to be able to come up with anything, because if we've learned anything from his previous matches, HybridFrog has a really good control over just like a standard gateway army, but at the same time he has no problem transitioning into a late game Colossus army of doom. So I'll be curious to see how it goes. But otherwise, Atomica, how are you doing this evening?
I am doing fantastic now that I have some food. I hope that you're doing pretty well with your beef jerky.
I lost my beef jerky. My girlfriend came over and took it, and she's eating it now. So all I do is get the lid off of it. Anyhow, so looking pretty good. HybridFrog already chrono boosting his workers, which is usually a pretty good indication that they're not planning on like a double gateway attack or anything like that. But
right, I'd be very surprised if he did something like that. Since he's,
there's no reason for him to do it on a map this big. I definitely agree with that. But Yulath has got the nice little early extractor here. He's going to be going for a 14 pool, undoubtedly, with the extractor already up. This opening is becoming increasingly popular. For a little while, people were learning, oh, I can put down my extractor slightly before my pool, and then people just started realizing, oh, you know what, I can just put it down way the hell before my pool, and absolutely have 100 gas when it comes out. So they just kind of keep doing that. We got a little bit of joking going on here in chat, but pretty soon, oh, there it is. Okay, so spawning pool in about 14, just what we would expect. Looks like Feargorm got kicked out of the game, unfortunately, but I don't think that's...
Yeah, I don't know if that was intentional or not. So we have this Overlord just kind of chilling out, nothing much to look at.
Yeah, I always like showing up in the front of a base with an Overlord and knowing that Cybernetics Core isn't done yet, of course, so you've got a little while to kind of float around and just see what things are like before you have to really get out of town. So we'll see how well he does that. Meanwhile, nothing else going on. This is a pretty standard opening. Haven't seen any metabolic boost yet from Yulath. I don't know if he just forgot to get it or what his deal is exactly, but he should have that up. But no, he's opting to get an expansion first, which is strange. Very strange.
I don't know. Maybe Yulath really kind of wants to go for this early expansion just to mix it up, because playing that one base in early speedlings hasn't really worked out for him so far.
HybridFrog is now looking around for the secret gold expansion. That's always kind of tricky.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good, especially on Metalopolis, good to, when you're scouting your opponent, just go and tap your scout out on one of the Zilmeka towers, because it does give you view on both gold expansions and make sure your opponent isn't doing something like that.
Yeah, I've seen that, and again, it doesn't happen so much in like high-level platinum games or professional games, but every now and then a Terran player can just lift off his main and take the gold on this map, and if somebody just doesn't happen to scout it right away, it's a really brutal strategy. You can definitely get a massive, like a ridiculous amount of Marines out early on if you have a nice build order around that. But of course, the downside to that is if you don't win right away with that, these minerals mine out really quickly. And that's usually the end of the game right there, because you don't have nearly as many of them, and so you can mine them much quicker.
Absolutely. So Yulath is opting to go for his Roachborn, actually, and finally getting his metabolic boost, maybe a little bit too late.
Yeah, I guess he had his priorities on how soon he wanted to attack and just opted not to do that. Second Queen is out, extending the creep. I like this. This is a very typical build here for Zerg. And, just kind of scouting around with his early lanes, not doing a whole lot, but at the very least verifying that HybridFrog doesn't have an expansion or anything else like that up right now. HybridFrog getting the weapon upgrades right off the bat. As I realize I don't have my production tab up again.
Yeah. Yulath wants to know if HybridFrog ninja'd a secret pylon, so he's checking the smoke in the back. And no, pretty much no cheese going on right now.
Get a little bit of random chat talk going on here. Random psychological warfare happening. And here comes a pretty nice little timing attack here. Nice little 4-gate push. We'll see how quickly he's going to warp in the rest of those.
Absolutely.
He's
I'd love to
warping
see
right
hybrid.
at the front of his base.
I'd love to see
Even
hybrid
more sentries.
frog. Yeah, take that probe that's just kind of being assimilated into the battle group and just throw down a pylon, maybe right here on the high ground, and that's exactly what he's doing. So he'll be able to easily reinforce his really sentry-heavy army. I'm really surprised that he's done that.
Yeah, I think his plan is pretty much that he wants to be able to lock Yulath completely out of his main, and is planning on just making sure that he kills that expansion. I'm surprised he's not being a little bit more aggressive about it, though. He has it right now. If he would just try out the field, I think he's really worried about being like taken down by a flock of lings. But if he just walled, just force field that ramp a couple of times, he could really take that out. But spine crawlers are up now, and the roaches are all down from the top level. So we'll see how well this works. There's that force field. Good focus fire on the roaches though with the sentries, making a nice little just maze of shields out here. But at the same time, there are enough roaches out. It looks like.
And here comes a little bit of soccer backup. Ooh, roaches trying to retreat back to where the queen is.
Yeah, the roaches need to stay on that creep, especially if they're fighting off on stalkers. They just can't take care of that back and forth action when there's no creep. I'd love to see him get that creep tumor a little further out, but I don't think he can do that anytime soon. Oh, now he goes for it. Right then. All right, I'm glad to see he's psychically communicating with me.
All right, here comes another spine crawler. 2 spine crawlers actually, just to... No, he's canceling those. That's interesting.
Awesome.
Yeah, HybridFrog actually force fielding the ramp. I thought my game broke for a second, but actually nobody produced anything for a few seconds. Yulath actually has 8 roaches right down, so if he can hold off this impending wave of stalkers, he'll have a pretty sizable force to counterattack.
Yeah, he's also tier 2. I'd love to see him get this glial reconstitution as soon as he gets 100 gas, but he's just so tempted to keep turning all of his gas into roaches at this point. But that would really help him in this matchup just because he needs to go back and forth. But frankly, what he needs to do is get away from roaches at this point because now the game has been skewed to roach stalker, and stalkers win that matchup. So he either needs to get more lings or get hydras or something. The lings are doing a good job getting a nice little surround off. Not a surround, but just kind of tripping them up a little bit as they pull back. But eventually this is the kind of position that the stalkers want to be in. But thankfully he's really outnumbering them with the roaches.
Right. Right now he's putting down that glial reconstitution, so he will be able to fight those stalkers off the creep. And HybridFrog actually throwing down his Robo right now, so and attacking his own pylon.
I saw that he rallied them to the front and then rallied an attack point on that, so I guess he just needs to open that up a little bit more in case he needs to back up. So. Yeah, the Robo is the right move, but and now I need to see Yulath needs to think one step ahead and get Hydralisks, which he is getting right now. But of course, this just finally puts us into that in-game position that all Protoss want to fight in. All Protoss want to fight with Colossus versus Roach and Hydra. It's the best possible matchup for him, and it's a really tough army to beat. So with that Robo Den going, that robotics facility going down, I'm sure Robo Bay will be shortly after that, with an expansion coming up here as well.
Right. We might actually see HybridFrog just staying back and trying to build up his army while he's getting his NAT set up, because really Yulath has had his NAT up for quite a while now, so he's been taking the macro edge. And this will really pay off in the long run. Because as you see, he really... Sorry, I'm kind of choking on popcorn kernels. You get my point, though, right? The longer that HybridFrog stands back and doesn't get that macro, these roaches will eventually just overrun the pylons that he has. Stalkers. I cannot talk after all this time.
No, it's quite all right, because everything you're saying is perfectly correct, which is that he's finally capitalizing on this expansion. He's no longer putting too much. He's no longer building drones anymore. He's got all the drones he needs, so he can actually use 2 queens worth of 2 hatcheries worth of production constantly, and so he's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
And actually opting to destroy that statue.
Yeah, I always like when people take out their aggression on Mansk up there. But good choice getting these 2 upfront photon cannons. I think HybridFrog realized that he felt a little bit too small and just